So it's going to be a fascinating few months ahead, but already the footprints are showing on the old part of the pitch. It's a cold day, overcast. Juventus, whose strengths really are in attack, and Hessler carrying them forward here. It's his cross. Milan, who always like to push up and look for an offside. It's not forthcoming this time. D'Agostini gets it in. And Paolo Di Canio shoots wide. And Trevor Francis, what are your expectations from this fascinating fixture?
Well, I'm quite intrigued by the start that Juventus have made, because there was the feeling that perhaps they would come to the San Siro looking for a point, but they've been very, very positive and made a good start here.
They did have a victory in the Italian Cup final here in the second leg to actually win that trophy, to take it away. One thing that Milan didn't win over the past few months. Back in April, it was Milan 0, Juventus 1 on this ground. Roberto Gallia, who's one of the Juventus substitutes today, scored the cup-winning goal. So maybe that's a factor. But it would be important for Milan to make use of an advantage of playing at home that hasn't been as considerable as it should have been this season. And Karobi, the fair-haired understudy to Maldini at left-back, probing forward down that far side, and in the end there are two players down here. Karobi was tripped by Hessler.
Well, Milan have certainly shown that this season at home they haven't been as convincing as normal. I think they've lost the two against Sampdoria and Inter Milan, and that's possibly one of the reasons why Maifredi has come here today with an attacking formation, and he's going to try and play a positive game, trying to attack Milan.
Bonetti was the Juventus player in the wars with that head collision. He's a very tough competitor, Dario Bonetti, being consoled by another of similar stature, Carlo Ancelotti. But quite properly, Milan have the free kick as the game is restarted. Karobi was fouled. Donadoni looks to clip it in. And Bonetti still trying to come to terms, really, with getting his senses back. And he really didn't want the ball. Baggio with some delightful juggling. Franco Baresi, who was injured in Milan's last league game away to Roma and missed Italy's international, which has taken place during this short break in the league programme when they won 4-0 in Cyprus. A couple of goals there from Aldo Serena. Sampdoria's Lombardo, playing his first international, was also a scorer. Great start for him. Here's Gullit. Confident enough to try the shot early. And undoubtedly, without Van Basten, there is going to be a great responsibility on Ruud Gullit. It was De Marchi who blocked the shot.
Yes, in fact, it was excellent defensive play from Di Marchi, because Massaro played a good forward ball for Gullit, who was in a good position to try the shot, but Di Marchi got the block in very, very good, and it was a good, intelligent block, because, as you saw, Gullit really timed that one well.
Not quite as well timed. The challenge by Franco Baresi on his World Cup colleague, Schillaci. Hessler making good progress. Schillaci being singled out by the Milan supporters for a spot of derision there, although he had no chance of keeping that one in. Coming to the end of the year in which Italy were expected to win the World Cup, there's been quite a lot of looking back over the past few days to things that might have been, to performances that were given by Schillaci and some that weren't by others. There has been this poll in one of the leading newspapers here, which ended with Maradona voted as the most hated man in the world by the Italian readers, beating Saddam Hussein in that, which has surprised some people. It didn't surprise me, because Saddam Hussein didn't knock Italy out of the World Cup. They get their priorities right in this part of the world. So a very brisk opening phase to this Italian First Division fixture.
And I also think, Martin, if Italy had won that match against Cyprus, the Italian manager Vicini would have been high on that hated list.
That's absolutely certain. Tassotti just got a toe to it. Corini, who's fitted in snugly. He's a current under-21 international. Won well by Schillaci. Baggio quickly on the scene to support him and react to the header. Carobi is the defender. And Ancelotti came back to help out. Juventus have only lost once in the league since Baggio joined them. That was away to Bari last month. And there's some running repairs needed for Costa Curta. Costa Curta was in that Italian squad away to Cyprus. He was a substitute, didn't get into the action, but a step nearer becoming a full international. Undoubtedly his career helped by playing alongside Franco Baresi. Rijkaard. Well, the back pass not widely appreciated, but Juventus in the league here last season put on a pretty good show and were beaten 3-2 in a cracking game. They got their revenge by winning, as I say, in that Italian Cup, and also beating Milan towards the end of last season in Turin in the league. So a defeat that inflicted great damage on Milan's hopes of beating Napoli in the championship race. Costa Curta still mopping his damaged brow. Bonetti with the throw. Again, good work on the ball. It's an impressive start from Hessler to this match. He feinted to shoot. Milan played for offside and they got it. Coordinated movement, and there were two players who fell into the trap. But Thomas Hessler showing well in midfield for Juventus. Baggio. Hessler involved again. That's clever work on the ball by Carobi. You almost need two sets of studs to play on this revamped surface. It's certainly a long stud in the wider positions, where Gullit finds himself at the moment. The cross from Tassotti was one that Massaro very nearly got to, coming across the defender.
Well, it's a great ball in from Tassotti. I was just thinking the type of ball really that Van Basten loves just wondering how much that AC Milan are going to miss him today, especially with Juventus having a weakness in defence without Julio Cesar, who's suspended.
Yes, Julio Cesar, who managed to get himself sent off in 2 consecutive matches. Keeping the ball and rather embarrassing Gullit, and then a handball by Tessotti. Well, some referees would automatically reach for the top pocket and produce a card for that. Not the case today. Juventus settle for their free kick and look to make maximum use of it with Baggio. Carini. Hessler leaves them in his wake again. Carini rather miskicked. Hessler had drawn so many players towards him, there would have been room for others for Juventus if the move had continued. And Franco Baresi not hampered by the Christmas break, that's for sure.
No, it was interesting when Hessler was making forward run that immediately Baresi marshalling his troops there to come out and play the offside trap. That's 4 occasions now in the first 12 minutes he's tried to play the offside game, and it's not something that I like. I think that we've seen once or twice Milan have tried to play this and they've come unstuck. It's a very risky business.
Overindulging on the ball in your own half can be a risky business as well, even when you are the World Club champions. And Juventus were chasing for possession here. They got it, and in the end Ancelotti wrapped a not too friendly arm around Baggio, who, apart from being a penalty specialist, is also, of course, deadly from free kicks from distance. This possibly a bit too far out for him. He just dinks it in. And some complaints there by De Agostini that Carbone had fouled him.
On the subject of playing offside, it does surprise me a little that a player of Franco Baresi's experience likes to play the offside, because he's undoubtedly one of the quickest players in the Italian First Division. And I tend to associate the offside with players who perhaps don't have his sort of pace, and who'll have to play it to compensate for their lack of pace. But Baresi is so quick, he doesn't need to play the offside.
He's having a lot of work to do with Juventus looking good. With 13 minutes gone, and Pazzagli just grasping it. Schillaci coming in quickly. Hessler's cross. It's a very positive start, and Juventus clearly believing that if they are going to show themselves as capable of winning the championship, you mustn't be frightened of coming to the San Siro stadium. Oh, but the pitch again is going to make for mistakes. Came because D'Agostini didn't hit a simple pass cleanly, and Juventus were caught having to work it around at the back. They lost out, and Lupi had to halt Massaro unfairly. Seen too much of the Milan midfield so far. Ancelotti drives it in, and they were hoping to build off the flick at the near post.
I'm just thinking there, how often do we talk in football about passing the ball along the carpet? I mean, obviously the pitch is a slight improvement, but as you can see, it's very, very bumpy, and when the ball is passed along the floor, it doesn't run very even at all. It's very untrue.
And clearly in the 2 weeks since there was last a game here, they felt that they couldn't deal with the whole of the playing surface. It is better through the middle. But it's surely only temporary repairs. And it's an argument against Milan and Inter doing well enough in their home games to win the championship. Tassotti for Gullit. Players to the left for Milan. Ancelotti trying to thread it through the centre. And neither Gullit nor Massaro was quite on the same wavelength.
I think the forwards are rather disturbed by the Juventus defence, who are playing the offside game like Baresi is at the back for Milan. Pushing out very, very quickly, and they just couldn't find the space needed.
Yes, my Frady, like Arigosaki, has faith in the zonal system of marking. Well, Massaro can at least draw credit from his work in the opening 15 minutes that he has been fouled a number of times. He got into one promising position in front of goal from a Tassotti cross. He's a very experienced replacement for Van Basten, of course.
I'm not sure if I agree with you there, Martin. He's certainly been given a few free kicks. I don't know if they've all been fouls.
And let's miss it again by Donadoni this time. Carboni, no offside, chance for Milan. Tacconi was left exposed then by the run from deep by Stefano Carboni, and it bounced off the goalkeeper, off the left back and behind for a goal kick.
Well, you saw exactly the way there to beat the offside trap. Carboni played the ball, continued running for the 1-2, and there's no way any defence, no matter how good you are playing the offside, can cope with that.
Gullit not allowing himself to settle on the ball, wanting to play it in quickly, and Juventus with this back line not looking quite as convincing in using the zonal system of marking as Milan, who of course have practiced it for more years.
Well, in fact, it was good intelligent play from Carboni, because he just played the ball and followed it, and in this situation when the team is playing offside, it's not so much the forwards who can get in, but midfield players and defenders make him run some deep positions. They cause problems to the opposing defence.
But on this rather dark afternoon in Milan, nothing gloomy about the style of football. Caught in possession, and Donadoni fouled by Carini. Foul that time, Trevor?
Most definitely, yes. It was good dribbling there from Donadoni. I think that's a trend that seems to be going out of our game. It's quite noticeable in this early period of the game that we see here Donadoni going past Carini, and he has to bring him down. And the most influential player probably in the first 15 minutes has been Hessler. And he's been influential because he's been causing Milan trouble with his dribbling ability.
Yellow card for Carini, free kick to Milan. That's Costa Curta, and that could have fallen in Milan's way. Tacconi is a marvellous goalkeeper. I think watching him over the years, you do feel sympathy for him that he hasn't achieved as many international caps as perhaps his ability warrants. Zenga has just been given the preferential treatment. He got in and really has been good enough to stay in. Pushed there by Ancelotti, whose international days are over by his own choice. On Baggio, who of course is very much a focal man for the Italian manager Vicini. We've had 20 minutes in the San Siro Stadium. Milan 0, Juventus 0. Here's Carboni. Milan appealing for a corner. Bonetti had one season in the red and black stripes, 86-87. He really has moved around the Italian First Division, never short of a job. The hard tackling defender. It's a corner though, being lined up here by Donadoni. Costa deflected it, and Di Canio happy to hack it away. Milan, arguably the best team in Italy at making corners pay off for them, and it very, very nearly worked. Maldini, who's injured at the moment, is usually the player designated for the back headers, but Costa Curta stepping into the role here. Schillaci. Dispossessed by Carobi, who's certainly looking the part.
Yes, just taking up your point about Dario Bonetti, who we've seen many times on Italian television. It's interesting to see him playing in the right-back area, because we do associate him playing in the centre of the defence. And he's got a difficult task ahead of him today, because he'll be playing directly against Donadoni.
Yes, he's playing on the right side and not looking comfortable there, as Lupi rather played him into trouble. Lupi and De Marchi in the centre. Massaro with the long throw. Frank Rijkaard hasn't been much in the picture so far. And Juventus knocking the ball around delightfully. Baggio. It's a pass that D'Agostini completed. Di Canio, can he get his shot in? Not quite. Carobi steers it back to Pazzagli, who's angry about the follow-up from the raiding right-back himself. Bonetti has been known to leave the odd foot in from time to time, and that was never his ball.
Well, Bonetti's a player that I've got to know very well through my days in Italy, because I played for a couple of years with him at Sampdoria, and I have to say, that's a typical Dario challenge.
But when Di Canio just shuffled to his right a moment or two ago and was looking to get into a position to shoot, it looked worrying for Milan. Costa Curta back to the goalkeeper, and that coming at a time when Milan have just been reminding us of the class in the side, having made an uncertain start against a buoyant Juventus. Goal scoring isn't always the only barometer in the Italian First Division. There's so much talent, so much technique. Players who can make light of testing conditions. Gullit wanted a bit too long then. The coach for Juventus, Gigi Maifredi, just sitting down. For the Dutch era over in terms of the European Footballer of the Year. Gullit and Van Basten past winners, but Matthäus an almost unanimous choice for his work with club and country. Carini making extra sure that he controlled what would normally be a very straightforward ball. Donadoni. Ancelotti into feet. Massaro. Good tackle by Marocchi. And Juventus with several players who sense the right moment to move forward. Schillaci. Oh, and Baggio had gone offside. Schillaci, though, not short of support when Juventus do attack. Hessler. This is Carini. And again, Baresi has got the chorus line.
I feel undoubtedly that AC Milan are missing Van Basten, because he's the type of player that they look forward to hit. He is their target man who plays the most advanced. Massaro and Gullit are very, very good players in their own right, but they tend to play a little bit deeper off Van Basten, and neither of them like to take up the more advanced position.
Yes, Milan have scored 12 goals in 12 league games this season. That's not an impressive tally, really. They've only let in 6. But of the 12 they've scored, 5 have come from Van Basten. Here's Schillaci, taking Milan on. Rather running into Karobi. No foul. Karobi came across him and was not trying to get out of the way, that's for sure. Baresi. The ball wouldn't quite run for Hessler. But it is remarkable, really, that Milan, with all their calibre, haven't scored 3 goals in any of their league games this season. The wins have all been close, really, in terms of the scoreline. Can they manufacture a goal now? Rijkaard on the right. Ancelotti. It was well struck. Not an easy ball to take first time. Baggio. Chased by Carboni. Carini, who's looked very comfortable in the Juventus midfield. A player in his first season in the first division. Hessler. Marocchi got the angle right to get it back to Hessler. Schillaci. There's so much promise for Juventus in the way they're constructing things in midfield, with Hessler leading the way. Milan started to move out, but that time Baresi gave some depth to the defending. He didn't feel it was right to play offside then. Rijkaard. Tassotti. Both these clubs, of course, have got European competition to look forward to in the new year. In the quarter-final stages. Oh, and Tacconi's come a long way. Gullit hits it towards a goal that wasn't exactly open, but lacked a goalkeeper. And didn't hit it with any power. There's a trip now by Marocchi on Tassotti. Tacconi came, but certainly didn't conquer.
No, in fact, it was bad keeping by Tacconi. He decided to come, and he was never going to be there, and the ball fell loose to Gullit. And really, Gullit should have done better. That goes down as the best chance of the game, and it's a chance that he'll reflect on, that he probably should have scored. In fact, he's tried the volley there, but he could have stopped the ball, then taken it more comfortably. Of course, the volley is the most difficult skill in the game, and you saw there that he rather made a mess of it.
And Bonetti was able to get back and make a straightforward stop before Milan could pounce again.
I think on this occasion, it's one occasion where Gullit cannot blame the pitch, because as you could see, the ball was in the air, and you know, it is a difficult skill trying to volley the ball, but a player of his ability should really have done better.
Yes, if you go back to the vintage years of Gullit before that knee problem, you really would have expected that to have bulged the back of the net. Half an hour gone. That skimmed away off Di Canio. Rijkaard having to play on the retreat though. Baresi lifting it forward to find that Milan had fallen into their own trap. If Juventus were to win today, incidentally, it would be their 1000th victory in the Italian First Division. They, of course, have by far the most impressive record, 22 championships. But none since 1986, which by their standards represents a pretty barren spell.
We mentioned the loss of Van Basten, but also it's a serious blow to Milan to be without Maldini and Ivani, because the two of them, they really play both on the left-hand side, and I feel that without these two it somewhat affects the balance of the team. They're having to play Karobi at left-back and Donadoni on the left-hand side, and I feel that Donadoni probably does more of his better work on the right-hand side of the field, but with the absence of Maldini and Ivani, they've had to reshape somewhat.
Yes, actually, Karobi's fitted in rather more snugly than Donadoni in making one or two bursts that Maldini would have been pleased with. It's a foul by Rijkaard, whose troubles this year actually started against Juventus when he was sent off in the first leg of the Italian Cup final. That was a match in Turin. Sent off for a rather brutal foul on the then Juventus sweeper Tricella. Free kick to Juventus. Hessler trying to get round the outside. And he's forced a corner. Not settling for the easy ball in with his right foot. "12 minutes remain in the first half. Not much between the two sides on the evidence of the opening 33 minutes.
I have to say that I'm somewhat disappointed with the set pieces. Milan have had various free kicks from good positions, and there you saw Juventus wasting completely a corner put into Pizzali's hands.
Schillaci takes them on, and that caused enough panic for Baresi to go into a tackle that he was unlikely to win, just to stop Schillaci by whatever means. It was a wild wave of the left leg.
Well, undoubtedly in this country that would have received a yellow card from a referee, because that was a very crude challenge without any attempt at all to play the ball.
A chance maybe for Juventus. Bonetti's gone towards the near post if the cross arrives. Baggio, easily dealt with by Karobi. One or two defenders committed forward by Juventus, and they needed some help from the others.
You tend to associate Baggio, because of all his individual ability, as being an individualist, but there you saw Baggio, the team player.
That's a fine pass too, of great range by Baggio. Marocchi, Schillaci hoping that he might have just made some contact there to guide it towards Di Canio. Paolo Di Canio, only 22, who started in the Italian First Division with Lazio, which possibly explains why recently he got sent off playing against Roma. There's been a lot of strong feelings there, even though he was playing for Juventus. He managed to do that in a game that Juventus won by 5-0. D'Agostini having problems with the pitch rather than Carboni, who came up with the ball. Ancelotti. Carini was obstructed. Seems to be more variety coming from the Juventus midfield. That hasn't led to any great number of chances. They've got Marocchi, they've got Hessler, as well as Baggio, of course, and Carini has played well for them so far, but Donadoni for Massaro, across came Lupi. Roberto Donadoni, who loves to have the ball at his feet and take on opponents, can't do it with any great confidence here, particularly on that area of the pitch wide on the far side that he's been occupying for almost all of this half. Baggio and Schillaci setting off, not with full conviction to start with, but he very nearly got to the ball. Karobi was too strong for him, I think, mentally as well as physically. Donadoni unhappy underfoot again. Ancelotti, that really does suit the defender. Carini with more angle on it. Icanio rather jumped into his man then, and was reminded of that. News from Genoa, the other mega match on today, that Gianluca Vialli, Trevor Francis's great pal, has put Sampdoria 1-up against Inter. Carini. Donadoni, and it's Franco Baresi who's up with him. Milan looking just to mix it up a little bit here, with Baresi recognising arguably the first opportunity in the match that he's had to come forward. Vanetti's tackle. Massaro trying the long throw. Touched off by Schillaci. Baggio got the ball to run for him. And he's not embarrassed by the playing surface. It's on the good ground through the centre that he was making his progress then. Which really is, in contrast, Trevor, to the basic principles of the game. Get it wide, we say so often, but here, that really is not to anyone's advantage.
But you know what they say, Martin, that good players can play on any type of surface. But when you consider the type of players we've got here today, like Rijkaard and Gullit, then for Juventus, I'll just leave it there for a second.
Gullit, Carbone.
With players like Baggio and Hessler, they literally cost millions and millions of pounds. And really, to display their skills, they do deserve better surface than this.
Just over 5 minutes to go to half-time, a Milan corner. Angelo Carbone to take it. Oh, and it's blocked on the line from Costa Corta. Tacconi went down for it, but couldn't make it his. Carbone again. Well, hard to make chances in free play, but corners will always, if they work well, have some percentage. Costa Corta unmarked, bounced beyond Tacconi, and there was cover on the line. Baggio. The home supporters encouraged. Baresi stepping in. Milan trying to mount a furious finale to this first half. in which they haven't been able to break through against the Juventus side that's shown plenty of class of its own.
I commented earlier that Milan wasted a number of good opportunities from set pieces, i.e. free kicks from good areas. But in fact, they had two corners, one a near post flick on, and there you saw Costa Curta coming in the centre of the goal, almost scoring. Well, they've looked very, very dangerous.
Donadoni. Not the best clearance by De Marchi. Gullit. Oh, and confusion there. De Marchi and D'Agostini. Schillaci having to drop deep. And, well, you've got to praise the effort by Carboni in trying the shot, even if the execution was poor in the end. Having matched Milan for much of the first period, Juventus just finding it a little more difficult now as half-time approaches, but they'll be pleased to get a free kick now.
I think the problem that Milan have had first half is that they haven't been really able to get to any of the midfield players to support Massaro and Gullit. In Carboni, Donadoni, Rijkaard and Ancelotti, they tended to play in their own little areas, but we've seldom seen them break into the penalty box.
Gullit, that was guided down intelligently and accurately. Yes, we mentioned earlier that they rely so much on Van Basten as a scorer. Rijkaard's got one goal this season in the league, Gullit one.
And it's only through putting bodies into the penalty box that chances arise. It's interesting that the two corners which we've spoken about, there were a number of Milan players in the penalty box, and that's where they had the two chances.
Bonetti. Oh, and Baresi needing a second bite at it. There wasn't much blame in the pitch that time. Hessler trying to finish the half the way that he started it as a major influence. Great play from Hessler, and the cross not quite deep enough. His target was Giancarlo Marocchi. But he had a whole line of Milan defenders repositioning then with one turn as he looked to get behind them again, having checked back initially onto the left foot.
Yes, he's actually been a constant threat to the Milan defence, and that's the type of player that Milan are looking for from Donadoni. You see him trying to break there, and that's what they must get more from Donadoni, because he's got exceptionally good talents, especially dribbling talents, but he hasn't really shown it in this first 45 minutes.
He was being chased all the way by Carini, who actually, when he did tackle him, tackled the ball first, but there might have been a spot of holding before that. Well, also Donadoni, of course, can do is curve free kicks from this type of angle past goalkeepers, but he's passed on this occasion to Gullit. Look at that wall. It has to go back double that distance. Now Tacconi's got to hope that the wall can cover that post, and if Gullit can make it go over the top of the wall on that line, Tacconi will have to move pretty quickly to keep it out himself. That's the area we're looking at, I think. And Tacconi was there, and it actually seemed to go through the wall. From Gullit in stoppage time at the end of the first half. That was the use of an arm by Marocchi. Gullit in the centre of midfield. with Rijkaard. Dutch influence on this attack. Carboni. Well, he's got a free kick here. He's a bit fortunate. D'Agostini perhaps a bit impetuous on his part. Carboni was in trouble of his own making. And maybe a last chance in the first half to get a goal for Milan. They have looked more dangerous at dead ball situations. Delivered by Ancelotti, but not straight away. He feels D'Agostini isn't back the full distance, and I think the referee might agree with him. Ancelotti deep, Gullit to it, and at least it's an effort on goal. And maybe more weight to the Trevor Francis argument that if you do get more players into that Juventus penalty area, that Juventus may not be quite so clever at the back as that they possibly looked for spells in the first half when Milan were really operating with only Massaro through the middle. Two minutes of stoppage time played. Referee Beskin checking again with his watch, and Juventus quite happy to see it through here to a pretty even first 45 minutes territorially, although Milan had far more shots. Juventus hardly managing one in anger despite their more inventive midfield play. And a good start for Donadoni to the second period to dispossess Bonetti. But initially it seems Donadoni will continue to operate as a midfield player wide on the left-hand side, which is something of a sacrifice of his skills. Massaro trying to propel the ball into the heart of the Juventus penalty area. And that's Ancelotti! Wow! Inside the first minute of the second half, and a volley, top class, top corner. Well, that's the second look, and they can go on showing it as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it was a great long throw in from Massaro. You see Rijkaard in the penalty box challenging there, and it breaks to Ancelotti, and that's an absolute stunning volley. He did what Gullit failed to do in the first half. A magnificent goal.
Just what the game required, and just what Milan wanted. And here comes Gullit. Carlo Ancelotti, 31 years old now. So many of these big games behind him. And he's always likely to pepper away at goal from outside the penalty area. But he caught that one perfectly. And Tacconi, well, he didn't have a chance to even think about the save. It was that well hit.
And really it couldn't have fallen to a better player. Undoubtedly Ancelotti, he hits a real clean ball. He's got tremendous power from any sort of distance, and that was a tremendous shot.
Here's Rijkaard. It's Donadoni lurking on the edge of the area and hoping to match Ancelotti. Well, it's one of the oldest cliches, but goals do make matches, and what they do, of course, is they make the team that's conceded the goal rethink. Juventus, who've been neat and tidy in their approach play, but unambitious really when they've got to the Milan penalty area, can no longer persist in that frame of mind. Costa Curta finding the ball dropping over him, and Thomas Hessler hoping to collect it. had he done so in his stride, and it was by no means easy, there could have been the formula for the fight back then.
Well, once again there we see Milan trying to play the offside rule, offside game, and really they are risking. Thomas Hessler, if his first touch had been better, he'd have been through for a clean shot at goal. They do risk, Milan, and I think that teams that continue to play the offside will eventually get found out.
Oh, and Costa Curta bobbling the ball back to Pazzagli. Well, how will Juventus cope? They've scored almost twice as many league goals as Milan this season. They're not short of attacking craft, although they haven't supplied Schillaci in quite the right manner as yet. Corini nicely working the triangle with Marocchi. Carlo Ancelotti is definitely a big game player. He's one of those who really grows in stature the more demanding the occasion. And he's found a goal worthy of the occasion and more. Milan lead 1-0. The header out by Baresi. Baggio. Juventus free kick. Baggio looked long and hard at one or two options then, but in the end didn't really select the right one. The only consolation for Juventus is that there's plenty of time for them to get level again. But their share of the first half wiped out by one swing of the right foot by Ancelotti. Marocchi. Oh, and didn't quite come into the stride of Baggio.
I'm just looking to see if there's been any tactical changes from Saki during the half-time interval. Appears the only one that he has made is that he's pushed Rijkaard forward into a slightly more attacking position. We mentioned first half that the midfield weren't really getting forward to support Masado and Gullit, and it appears now that Rijkaard is the man who's been asked to push forward into that area.
Corini. Schillaci with that acceleration that was so conspicuous in the World Cup. A World Cup that you might be forgetting now that Schillaci started very much on the fringe of the Italian side. His first intrusions into it as a substitute before he ended up as player of the tournament. Foul by Gullit on Marocchi. At least Trevor Ancelotti has shown us how to score goals on this pitch. You don't let the ball bounce.
That's right, that's what I was mentioning first half with Gullit, a similar sort of situation. But as I say, Ancelotti is a tremendous striker of the ball, and that will go down as one of the goals of the season.
Baresi. Rijkaard's tackle, and his pass, though prone, was always likely to be inaccurate. Important for now for Milan not to get too carried away with the exhilaration of scoring the first goal in this game. Massaro out tackling De Marchi. Gullit with perhaps a run on against De Agostini. Tassotti. Serie for Juventus. Baggio, even on that treacly pitch, able to change direction and take the ball with him until he was fouled, or until he was looking for the foul, shall we say.
Yes, I was going to say that's a sign of a great player when you can beat 2 or 3 players in such a tight area. His close control was immaculate, even on this terrible surface. He really is a great player, Baggio.
Rijkaard, pull it to the right. And now making the angle. Beautiful pass. And a classic goal again for Milan. Within 10 minutes of the second half, it's going their way with a vengeance. And Rijkaard emerging from the shadows to provide the pass of the game. And Gullit read it, converted it, 2-0.
Another terrific goal. Everything right about this goal. A great pass from Rijkaard. Terrific running off the ball from Gullit. He sucked the Agostini in. It looked for the ball beyond him. And then the finish pass to Cody was excellent into the far corner. Another tremendous goal.
And over the last 10 minutes, you will now appreciate that you are watching the World Club Champions. One goal was going to be difficult for Manfredi's team. I don't know about 2. But they did themselves lose a 2-goal lead 2 weeks ago to Cagliari. They were the home side then. If there is any Milan complacency, which certainly Juventus were guilty of against the team propping up the Italian First Division. Handball by Frank Rijkaard. Well, to wait a pass on a pitch as unreliable as this one, as well as Rijkaard did then, was a marvellous moment for all football lovers. Costa Curta, you remember, got a cut in the first half. Milan get the offside the second time. They were appealing for it straight up, and it wasn't given. It's on the hairline there, with the blood trickling down into the eye, which is difficult, particularly for a player who will expect to head the ball more than most for Milan. And he has to go into a challenge straight away with Schillaci. Ancelotti did well. Rijkaard. Donadoni, of course, is very right-footed to be playing on the left-hand side, where, of course, Ivani, who does such a sterling job, was actually injured prior to the World Club Championship game in Tokyo and missed out on that trip.
Yes, Ivani's not one of the big names that you associate with Milan. He's not hasn't got the charisma of a Gullit or a Van Basten or a Donadoni for that matter, but he's so important to Milan because, as you say, he is left-footed and he gives the team great balance on the left-hand side.
And he's so unselfish as well. But they're doing well enough without him. And what you have, even in trying conditions against testing opposition, if you have good players, then the chances are that they will produce something. And that's what's happened here. Free kick to Milan, 18 minutes into this superb second half for the home side. Well, Tacconi's asked only for 3 in the wall. Gullit beats the wall, and the goalkeeper had it all absolutely worked out.
Well, I'm not surprised actually that Gullit tried that, because from the camera angle I felt that Tacconi was leaving the near side very, very open, and I think if the shot had been better executed, he may have been in trouble.
He's a sort of character, Tacconi, a very confident man who might even set down the challenge to say, come on, that's where you want to put it, try and beat me from there. But he's had 1 or 2 unusual lapses in this game. But as I say, for consistency, he really has been a great servant for Juventus over the last half a dozen seasons.
Perhaps next time, if Milan get a free kick in that position, they should have let Ancelotti take it.
Laid off by Marocchi, and De Agostini. Challenged first of all by Carboni. Juventus haven't been able to change their style too much. It's easy to talk about the theory of tactical changes, but against the Milan side now that are mentally absolutely right, which wasn't the case in the first half, it's going to be a heck of a task to turn it back.
Yes, and I think we should point out that we shouldn't forget the fact, of course, that Juventus are without Casaraghi, of course. He's been out for a while now with a dislocated shoulder, and they do miss his attacking power.
The attacking power coming from Milan. Hessler, though, trying to trigger something off here for Juventus from midfield. Well, that's like playing on a ploughed field in there. And Baresi's obviously done that a few times, judging by the way he solved the difficulties. Great play from him, suitably rewarded by the crowd's reaction. Tassotti's cross, Gullit trying to set it up. When the opposition have got Schillaci and Baggio, the game isn't over when you're 2-0 adrift.
I couldn't really understand what Gullit was doing there. Really, should have, in that situation, it should have been more selfish. Could either have tried the volley or perhaps brought it down and had a shot himself. Shouldn't really have tried to lay it off in that situation.
Donadoni. Gullit to the left of him and not marked. Donadoni going all the way, and Lupi challenging him, but not fouling him. Certainly one worth scrutinising a second time. The referee was absolutely sure that Donadoni was playing for a penalty.
Well, you could see that the way that Donadoni was running. He was running away from goal, going nowhere, and it was quite obvious that he was looking for a penalty. In fact, looking at it, I thought it was Massaro once again, but no, it wasn't on this occasion. It was Donadoni.
Juventus have, as Trevor predicted, called for the extra attacker, Alessio, and taken off a defender. Donadoni. Yes, I seem to gather, Trevor, from your time in Italy, that you and Massaro weren't the greatest of friends. Here's Donadoni, who's got a bit of licence to get away from the left-hand side at the moment.
Interesting substitution there. Dario Bonetti coming off to be replaced by Alessio. A substitution that obviously met with the approval of the AC Milan supporters. Of course, Dario, a former Milan player himself, and well, they've loved this moment, seeing him being substituted, of course.
They won't like it too much if Alessio starts playing havoc in the Juventus attack, which he's capable of doing in wide positions, but he's got to contend with the harder parts of the pitch. Harder in terms of difficulty, I mean. Softer in terms of texture. Baggio with Juventus staring in the face. League defeat number 2 of the season. But still a quarter of the game, just under, to go. No free kick. The referee is quite streetwise in that respect. He hasn't been fooled too often. If it stays this way and Milan do get the 2 points, a setback for Fredi. Not one that I suppose would be altogether unexpected for him. He would deep down have recognised the difficulty of taking on Milan in their own backyard. But for Milan, a chance to keep the pressure on. The club's above them, and of course they would go level on points with Juventus with a game in hand. And we're busily working out the goal difference now, which I think would edge it into Milan's favour if it stays this way.
Yes, it's obviously in many respects a very, very big game for Milan today, and also you must remember they do have this game in hand, and the game, of course, is against Pisa, who are not one of the strongest teams in the first division. So with these 2 points, which I'm sure they're going to get now from this game, it puts Milan in a very, very interesting position.
Yes, a home game against Pisa as well. Gullit. A little more space now, as you would expect, with Fredi having taken the tactical gamble. De Agostini. Now Schillaci. Can Juventus at least get a testing shot in and make Pazzali have to earn his money? Gullit. This is Massaro. Lupi vigilant in defence.
Yes, it was good defending there, because Massaro took the ball very well on his chest, good chest control. But Lupi defending very, very well to save the danger there for Juventus.
One or two little tricks coming out now, and we started by saying that Gullit is getting closer and closer to his pre-knee injury form. Gullit again. And it's De Marchi who deals with it at the expense of a corner. Baresi had to play that under some pressure, but it very nearly provided a through ball for Rijkaard. Well spotted by Tacconi off his line. Kessler with this low centre of gravity and the ability to change direction and take the ball with him.
It was interesting there that as the through ball came through to Rijkaard, it was like I thought it was a 50-50 between Rijkaard and Tacconi. It certainly would have been in England, but in Italy, Rijkaard just pulled out of it and allowed Tacconi to take the ball comfortably. I think in England you'd have seen certainly a challenge on the goalkeeper there.
I just wonder whether it's another little instance of Rijkaard being very conscious that he's had a bad year in terms of his on-the-field behaviour, and anything that could lead him into trouble just flashes across his mind. There's no need for heroics now. A mistake by De Agostini, allowing Gullit to take the ball. Here comes Rijkaard from midfield. That was picked off well by Lupi.
Yes, Lupi certainly defended well. 2 good interceptions there in the last couple of minutes. But it was once again a forward run from Rijkaard that caused the problem. Something that we didn't see in the first half.
Marocchi. And Milan winning all the tackles now. Alessio. Well, they've won that one, but unfairly. Baresi coming through the back of Baggio. Still 15 minutes to go, and if Juventus could poach a goal here, it really would be some finish. De Agostini. Schillaci jumping with Karobi. Baggio trying to lift it and loft it. Rijkaard hitting it into space.
Just looking at the Juventus team, obviously they're lacking one foreigner today because Julio Cesar is not playing, so the only one they have is Hessler. But they don't have their allowance, of course, because they're missing the third foreigner. And I just feel that with a third foreigner of great class, it would give them that little bit extra that perhaps they're just lacking. Something that would perhaps give them that bit of class to win the league.
Donadoni. Yes, for a long time, of course, earlier in the season we were led to believe that they wanted Des Walker to be that third foreigner. Ancelotti. Milan can play it at their tempo. Tassotti. Milan not just settling for a holding operation. Just on that foreigner subject, of course, Leinikov and Zavarov and Rui Barros from Portugal were all given the push by Juventus at the end of last season.
Yes, somewhat surprisingly, because I felt that you know, they didn't do that badly at all. And if you look through some of the teams that are challenging for the championship, of course, the influence that the 3 Dutchmen here have on the Milan team is quite enormous. And Sampdoria with Katanic, Mikhailichenko and Cerezo, 3 excellent players. And of course, at Inter Milan, they have the 3 Germans, Bremer, Matthias and Klinsmann. And that's what I feel Juventus are probably lacking at this moment, is the third foreigner, that little bit touch of class that they need.
Donadoni. Rijkaard with some classy control. Baresi, what's he going to do here? Baresi trying to stay onside and not get in Gullit's way, and then perhaps sneak a shot himself. But that's how confident Milan are. Baresi well away from home at the moment, though. Alessio, but the build-up almost necessarily slow if the passes are short. Rijkaard. Massaro trying to make the pass for him. Goalkeeper hesitates. Massaro actually had more time. In fact, what he was running out of was angle, really. And I think he wanted a goal for himself and wasn't too keen on taking it away and looking for a supporting player in the centre. Whatever, the chance was
What
missed.
a fantastic pass from Rijkaard. Playing on this surface with the outside of your foot, into the space behind the defender from Massaro. It was a superb pass. Just a pity that Massaro couldn't finish it off, because we would have seen this afternoon 3 of the best goals of the season.
You're getting greedy now, aren't you? We've had a super helping with the 2.
I'm not getting greedy, Martin. I just love class.
And there may be more on show now. Carboni just hesitated for a moment, but the passing from Milan, as they pick their way through Juventus, who, to be fair again to them, they've now changed to hopefully be more potent in attack. Hasn't really panned out that way, although Di Canio trying to get his angle for a cross here, and he has done well. Donadoni, Milan first to the loose ball. Gullit intelligently holding his positions wide on the right-hand side. And finding Rijkaard. Might have thought he was offside. Carini. Just over 10 minutes left. Juventus have been on the receiving end, and how in the second half. In the opening 10 minutes, a double blast from Milan. Hessler. Well played, Baresi. Against Baggio. Crowd enjoyed that.
Yes, it's quite significant that whereas in the first half, little Hessler, who's on the ball now in Baggio, were quite dominant for Juventus. They've not really done much at all in the second half.
Schillaci. Oh, there was a ball onto the right to Alessio, who settles for the throw. Schillaci not wanting to waste, though, a rare sight of goal. Di Canio complaining that it should be a free kick. He's got more to complain about now, because he's being taken off, and Gallia will replace him. Gallia, who scored the goal that won the Italian Cup for Juventus on this ground against Milan last April. But really, he's more of a utility player in midfield or at the back. Schillaci trying to bulldoze a way through, but Milan had so many players back to deal with him. Rijkaard. De Agostini. Baggio picking himself up and trying to pick Juventus up. Schillaci. That's very positive play, just what Juventus need. It's brought them a free kick, and he's not dispirited by the position that his team are in.
Now, once again there, we saw great skills in tight situation from Schillaci, putting the ball through Carboni's legs there for the nutmeg. That's the difference between the Italians, that in tight situations they're so good. They don't get flustered, they keep their control. Well, that's the roar gone up, I would think, judging by that Sampdoria perhaps gone ahead.
A penalty from Vialli, we learn. Sampdoria 2-1. Hessler trying to pull it back to 2-1 here. Sampdoria, if they were to beat Inter, would go top of the table. Trevor, you'd be pleased about that?
Yes, I'd be delighted, and you can hear what the AC Milan supporters think about it. They've received that goal from Genoa as if they've scored a third here at San Siro.
Yes, I don't think it's because they're Sampdoria followers. They're great rivals behind, they're favourites in front. It's a perfect Sunday afternoon for the Milan followers. Karobi. Oh, and 2 feet used by Hessler.
Now, if Sampdoria can hang on to that lead, it would be quite an achievement, because we have to remember that in the first half, they were reduced to 10 men, of course, when Mikhailchenkov was sent off.
Coming off now is Gullit. He's done his job. Agostini will have 6 minutes. It's an ovation for Gullit. The high fives to the player he replaces. Always amusing for long-time observers of the game to see the little tricks that players get up to in terms of celebrations. Scorers who run round corner flags in delight, kiss the ball, to all sorts of showman things that I think are all part of the game. I remember seeing Trevor Francis score a goal, and he ran away in the traditional fashion when he played for Birmingham City, and there was a greater celebration from a teammate called Kenny Burns, who made me believe that the goal belonged to him. Long time ago, Trevor, but I bet you remember it.
Yes, I do remember it. It was quite interesting, because I was convinced that I had scored, and Kenny was convinced he had scored. But we still haven't really sorted it out.
Hard man, Kenny Burns. I wouldn't like to argue the toss with him. Memory serves me right, it was a game against Leeds United at the St Andrews ground in Birmingham back in the 70s. 5 minutes to go here in the San Siro Stadium in Milan. A game adorned by 2 wonderful goals, a volley from Carlo Ancelotti and a marvellously Dutch orchestrated goal, Frank Rijkaard, and Ruud Gullit the scorer. And Juventus still trying to locate the road back into the game for them, and they're running out of time. And it gets better news for the Milan supporters. I think they're hearing it as well, that Sampdoria now lead by 3 goals to 1. And that's a game that you will be able to see on the Sports Channel tomorrow. Baresi making sure that Karobi doesn't mar the Milan afternoon here.
Whilst it's so easy to marvel at the dribbling skills of a Donadoni, or the passing ability of a Baresi, or for the shooting ability of an Ancelotti, what impresses me most with this Milan team is their work rate and their pressing. All good teams need to work hard, and this team certainly works very, very hard throughout the game.
Yes, it's something that can easily go unappreciated when you have moments like the 2 goals of glory that we've seen this afternoon. Baresi finding himself a little too close to Pazzali to be sure of the back pass. He had an alternative.
And I certainly feel you have to give credit to Arrigo Sacchi, because he is a very, very positive manager. I was interested in the substitution that he made only 2 or 3 minutes ago, when he took off Ruud Gullit and he replaced him with another forward in Agostini, because most managers at this period in Italy, with 5 minutes of the game left, would have taken a forward off and perhaps put a defensive midfielder or even a defender in to say, right, it's 2-0, we're keeping it 2-0. But that's not Arrigo Sacchi. He was prepared to gamble, well, not gamble, but to take a forward off and replace him with another forward.
And try and get 3 goals in a league game for the first time this season. They got 3, of course, in Tokyo against Olympia from Paraguay. Gallia's come on to play at right back, allowing Alessio to take on the role vacated by Di Canio. Well, Agostini's introduction to this game is a painful one.
I'm sure it won't be on Gallia's mind at this moment, but after the game is finished, he'll be another player who'll be delighted with Sampdoria winning today, because he played alongside myself at Sampdoria, a great friend of mine, and he's still a very, very big Sampdoria supporter, Roberto.
Milan looking to maybe substitute the substitute. This is Stropper. Again, we marvel at the resources available to Arrigo Sacchi. But it's Donadoni who's going to come off. We've talked about Maldini and Ivani being missing, Van Basten of course. But there's still men of the calibre of Stropper to be called upon. It is a skill of the club. In Italy, of course, Sacchi does the coaching and says which players that he wants, but he doesn't actually go out and get them. There's managerial men to do that, but they're very successful in that respect as well. Stropper straight away takes a free kick.
Though there's only 1 minute to go, Stropper will be delighted to be on the field, because of course he'll pick up his big win bonus today. And I'd imagine that seeing it's such a big game against Juventus, it'll probably be double bonus today.
And you don't get that if you're a non-playing substitute?
It depends on which club you are. I think, if I remember correctly, in Italy you had to be on the playing field. And when we talk about win bonuses, we're talking of perhaps in the region of £2,000 to £3,000 for one victory.
For Stropper for 1 minute. Back from De Marchi. There hasn't been an answer for Juventus, but that's not a great deal of criticism, really. It would have taken a great side playing really at their best to have replied in kind to the 2 goals that Maifredi's men have conceded here. Gallia well forward. And Juventus have a corner in stoppage time. My mathematics aren't my greatest strength, but I think if Juventus were to score here, they might stop Milan going above them. They wouldn't win the game. So there is some purpose in the corner. The equation before the game